17 minutes.
Will you be printing money or putting it on the line of credit?
So how are you going to explain to your people in your riding
It's a simple question.
that you voted
You're
in
the
favor?
finance minister. Finance is based on numbers. Will you be printing money or will it go on the line of credit?
Yes, that's an interesting exchange. I'm going to show you the whole exchange in a minute. We've got some really, really big news, I'm going to say, or big shoe. It's tremendous, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it, and we got lots to share with you this morning. So we'll be right back in mere moments.
The Prime Minister lied and his minions continue to lie.
Your home is your castle. We're calling on the government to introduce and immediately pass the Stand on Guard law.
But we also need to resolve to resist.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. Well, no. We'll do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So we're going to show you that whole exchange with the Minister of Finance, Mr. Champagne. But before we get there, you're watching Stand on Guard. I'm your host, David Crayden. I have some incredible news for you this morning. We've been working on this all weekend. Katie will be on later today to talk about this, but I have to get the news out now. I don't think anybody's picked this up yet. I looked this morning and say, this is huge. But I don't know if anyone caught it because the news release went out late Sunday. Of course, nobody's looking on Sunday. But to put it in a nutshell, Universal Ostrich Farms has won an appeal of this verdict from the Canadian Food Inspection Agency that they should be fined $10,000 because they didn't adequately report the alleged H5N1 avian influenza that might have occurred on the farm. Now, we've got video to show you, and we're going to get into the guts of the story. There's a news release, and there's also the documents from an organization that I had never really even heard of. But it is absolutely incredible what is going on, because not only is the fine been dropped, $10 fine, this Agricultural Review Tribunal has essentially said everything that happened from the beginning of this saga, when the CFIA started poking around and saying the farm wasn't reporting illness on the farm, which was a lie. And of course, the farm demonstrated that. We have shown that in articles. We've shown that on Facebook postings. CFIA lied about this. But not only are they not going to have to pay $10,000 fine, the tribunal ruled that everything that happened was improperly done because none of it was relayed in person. None of the information was relayed in person. Because of the standoffish, we are so superior attitude of the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Arrogance. You know, you can't talk to us. We will not talk to you. You have to email our superiors in Ottawa, and they might be good enough to get back to you. And they might be good enough to instruct some of the people on the ground to act accordingly. And of course, that's the nonsense that Katie Piscitne and Karen Esperson had to put up with during this 6-7 week occupation of the farm, watching this massacre. It all might have been improperly done. What does that mean? Well, I'm no lawyer, but I think this is the case for a lawyer, and the lawyers are on this. And that's who really put together the news release. We're going to go back, though, to this exchange with the finance minister.
The people in my riding, they are tired of politics. They want simple answers. 11 million, 11.3, will you be printing money or putting it on the line of credit?
So how are you going to explain to your people in your
It's
riding
a simple question.
that you voted
You're
in
the
favor?
finance minister. Finance is based on numbers. Will you be printing money or will it go on the line of credit?
What would you say to your constituent if you say you voted in favor, but you're not willing to support Canadians? So I think people will be confused. You should help them. We can help you.
Minister, please just an answer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How are you going to explain that to your constituents?
You must have thought, you know what you're going to do. Would you please just share with Canadians?
Well, exactly. That's
How
what
are
I'm
you going to
saying.
finance this?
I'm sure your constituents are confused. You voted in favor, and now you're saying you're not for the measures.
Minister, will you be printing money or the line of credit?
Are you in favor of the measure or are you against?
You are running a deficit. How much will the deficit be then?
Well, like I said, this is a measure that supports Canadians. You voted in favor of it. And I think you should stand by your vote and say, yes, we favor that because it's going to support Canadians at the time of need.
Minister, will this be a capital investment or an operating expense, since it's hard to tell with your broad definition now?
Well, I would not say it's so broad. You should look at what the International
Will it be
Monetary
an operating expense or a capital investment?
Madam Chair, do you want me to answer? I'm happy to listen to the
Please
questions.
answer. We're waiting for an answer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I was referring to the International Monetary Fund.
No. Well, we're talking about Canada here.
Well, but that's why I'm trying to help you, that the International Monetary Fund said that the definition that Canada has adopted, other countries are looking at that, and they praise the
No,
framework
I'm
that
not
Canada
asking
has
about
been
your
put
opinion
forward.
on the definition. I'm asking, will this program be a capital investment or an operating expense?
gonna be
You
an
must have thought
operating
this
expense.
through. Excuse
It's going
me?
to be an operating expense in
Okay,
the measure
thank you.
that supports
So
Canadians. But hold
for
on, let me finish because
No,
but
I
you don't
just
want the
needed
answer.
that
I'm trying to answer your
clarification,
question,
Minister.
but there's
I have
aspect
a- I
of it
have a
that would
question.
support
Sorry,
capital
both of you,
investment as well in the
Minister, Ms.
structure.
Kobina, I would ask both of you to pause for a second. Ms. Kobina, please continue.
That's, of course, Sandra Kobina, who is a member of Parliament from Alberta, and she's a relatively new MP, but my God, she had Mr. Champagne on the ropes there. No question about that. So good job. Very, very good job. Now I want to go to my X here. And we got lots to share here. And I'm not okay. This is interesting. Carney and Ford discussed idea of early election to secure majority, sources say. Now, who has been talking about this? Yeah, me. I have been talking about this for quite some time. I believe we're going to be facing an election, a federal election this year. And why is Doug Ford colluding with Mark Carney? What is going on here? Well, clearly, you know, Mark Carney and Doug Ford are up to something, but I'm not exactly sure what it is, except they seem to be looking for an election. And we reposted the food professor. Mexico surpassed Canada as the U.S.'s #1 trading partner for a reason. They couldn't care less about President Trump's mind games or bluster. Mexico was insulted and threatened far more than Canada ever was. Yet instead of playing the victim, they focus on what they could control. Canada needs to learn from that. Listen to the food professor's podcast below. Here, we're gonna play this because it's
Gulf
very
of America, build the wall, and basically ask Mexicans to pay for it. I mean, they just went over that and moved on and became the #1 trading partner to the U.S. I actually do think that Mexico will save Cosma, because I don't know about you, but I've been listening to Scott Besson a little bit more, and he did say that, but he did say, I think we're going to have a deal eventually, but it's going to be painful for Canada. And so I am expecting some turbulence, but we'll get somewhere with Cosma. But overall, I think the group is optimistic, pleased with what's going on with China, but also a little concerned about the future of Cosma.
Now let's just stick with that for a little bit. I noted that right after cutting that deal with the EU, India cut that deal with the EU, that Trump seems to, or the America seems to have cut a deal with India, which basically looks like, I mean, you never know the real details of these things.
Gulf of America.
And of course, Jamil Giovanni continues to make progress with the United States. Now, why do you suppose we're not seeing similar progress from the Carney government? And of course, the Liberals want it both ways. They briefed Jamil Giovanni before he went down to the States. They know he's very friendly with the vice president, J.D. Vance. And they know he's apparently quite effective in dealing with the Americans. And this is all extremely, extremely interesting. So Jamil Giovanni says Mexico is further ahead in this engagement with the U.S. than Canada is. There's no excuse for this. The Liberals have some answering to do. They got some splaining to do, as Ricky Ricardo used to say. And I love Lucy. They got some splaining to do here, Lucy, because they're not delivering. I love this one. Peter Menzies reposted this. How do you spend $22,000 on catering on a flight from Ottawa to Washington? It's a 90-minute wheels up to wheels down trip. Barely time for coffee and a mini bag of pretzels. So what are they doing? What are they consuming on here? What is it? Dom Perignon 53? And no, I don't have a contract with that champagne company, but I wish I did. Carney's travel expenses, not all of them in the first year. Pay special attention to the second pick. The in-flight catering, as a record number of Canadians turn to food bank. He's spending tens of thousands on food for 2 or 3 day trips. This is outrageous on the public dime. Wow. And if you thought Bill C9 was hibernating someplace, no, it's up. It will be up today. Bill C9 will be discussed in the House of Commons tomorrow. So that was Marty up north posting yesterday. So he means today, Monday. The Liberals are limiting debate to 2 hours. They're going to keep trying to push this through. The really scary part of this bill is this forfeiture clause. The Liberals are trying to censor us by making hate, loosely defined concept, a crime, and give themselves huge powers. Hate is in the eye, in the ear of the beholder. I can argue that Karl Marx is hate literature. And if you don't like something, you can say it's hateful. But Marty continues, courts could offer forfeiture of, quote, anything by means of or in relation to which the offender was committed to the Crown for disposal, potentially destruction or sale. For online creators, this could mean phones, computers, laptops, tablets, or hard drives drivers use to create, edit, upload, or post the so-called offending content symbols. Offending content could even include biblical scriptures. In the example, Leviticus 20:13 reads, if a man has relations with a woman as one does with relations with a man as one does with one, both of them have done what is detestable. They are put to D, their blood will be on their own head. Some critics argue this is hatred towards homosexuals. The Liberals are attacking free speech. 2 hours to discuss censorship and the end of free speech in this country? Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, not going to wash, my friends. Not going to wash. And we are going to be continuing to fight this. So I want to get back to where we are here. All right. Yeah, sorry, I had to. Thank you, all the people who are commenting, by the way. Thanks so much today. Want to show you, if I can share this to the screen. This is the big news. This is really, really good news here. All right, I'm going to find this, and it's all right. I gotta go directly here. Yeah, this is really, really Want to make sure you all are aware of this trigger sticker here. This is the turning point, I think, for justice, not just for this ostrich farm, but for a lot of Canadians. And here's a mouse pad we had printed for my personal use. This is my cat. What do you think? Is this something you would like to have available in the merchandise in the store? Because we will be doing that if we get a response back from you today. So I hope you like that. Anyway, so I want to read from the Canadian Agriculture Review Tribunal, because this is the basis of this incredible news. Universal Ostrich Farms received a notice of violation with a $10,000 penalty for contravening subsection 91.4, paragraph 6 of the Health of Animal Regulations. Universal elected to have the tribunal review the notice through written submissions from the parties. Universal challenged the notice of violation, NOV, on a procedural basis by asserting that they were not properly served with a quarantine notice, that they have been penalized for breaching. Next, they argued that the notice of violation was unfair because the conditions they were alleged to have breached were designed for quarantining poultry and were either impractical or ineffective when dealing with ostriches. Universal also claimed that the conditions imposed to prevent wild birds from coming into contact with the ostriches, their feed and water, were either impossible or impractical. Finally, they argued that the NOV is unjust because the continuation of the quarantine order was unwarranted. Their ostriches were no longer dying of avian influenza. For the reasons that follow, the NOV and penalty are set aside. The agency's failure to personally deliver the quarantine notice as mandated by section 91.4 of the HA regulations, Health of Animals regulations, is fatal to its case. The legislative intent deliberately required personal delivery for quarantine notices, a stricter standard than the broader service methods permitted elsewhere in the Health of Animals Act. That choice must be respected. Without proper service, deciding whether Universal contravened the quarantine notice is unnecessary. In their request for review, Universal argues that the agency failed to properly service them with the quarantine notice. The tribunals must decide whether the notice was properly served. So that, whether the notice was properly served, that is what this comes down to. So I'm going to see if I can get this. No, I'm going to show you. Here's some video from the farm from our friend Chris Dacey. And I think it's
coming in and out of here, wrangling birds into this area, kind of. This is also the area where they took out some of the cameras that we have video of.
Yeah, he's covering the cameras, definitely.
You can see here. Crap. A line, camera security line cut by CFIA. The wire cut on the outside. Bunch of feeding containers that were never used. We saw a bunch of 5-gallon pails just being dumped randomly. Obviously this was all here the whole time, could have been used. Man. Another camera here. This one was disabled. It's been re-enabled for now, but a lot of wires cut around here. They're obviously trying to hide what they're doing, right? Everything they did was to be the least transparent as possible. You can see right down here, a bunch of undone wires. Cut. Yeah, cut. Not just undone, cut and destroyed. Nobody can see what the CFIA is doing with their paramilitary protection force, the RCMP. Another camera up here. This one was also disabled. This is a common theme around here. This corner here would be where the footage of the marshmallow could be seen reaching up, taping over, and eventually cutting and destroying the feed. Absolutely wild. They took out all the cameras in every area. Absolutely crazy. That's what the damn government wants. Cutting cameras, trying to forbid everyone. Are you okay with this? Because I'm not.
So I got another video to show you here, but that goes through. Chris has been on scene there, and he was I think just coming back to Ottawa this week, and of course nobody expected this decision to come down last weekend or this weekend. It literally came down, I think, Friday night. Saturday took them a day to digest what was going on. Sunday they put out a news release. Chris has been there, I think, doing some great work, showing what a war zone this place looks like. And like I say, we're going to be showing you more of the information when we have Katie on, and we'll have more B-roll to show you exactly what the CFI left. And this has been a national shame. This has been a national outrage, because what did they expect these people to do? What did they expect this family of farmers to do to continue? They left their place looking like a huge shit pit. I can't think of a better description of it. And they were just supposed to, well, like it. And we recently discovered as well, Environment Canada is refusing to lift the quarantine. I got this intelligence on Saturday. There is a move afoot to try to get Environment Canada to overrule the CFIA. Environment Canada is unwilling to do that. So this war zone will persist throughout the winter months. And apparently the CFI is not even considering the possibility of cleanup or lifting the quarantine until spring. Well, I think that's still March 20th? So that's over a month away. But at least the $10,000 fine is gone, and I don't know where they're going to go from here. But I would say this moment is pregnant with legal possibilities. Was this whole operation illegal? Is there massive restitution in order for Katie and her mom? Is this a new beginning for fairness and justice for farmers against this war on agriculture that the Carney government has been waging and the previous Trudeau government waged for 9 years? And it's the CFIA out of control. We've been saying that, haven't we? We have been saying that for months. Katie's been saying that. Her mom's been saying that. Everybody associated with this farm has been saying this is grossly unfair. This was gross neglect. This was gross injustice. And finally, a government body has sided on the side of justice. I'm absolutely amazed that this decision came down so quickly from the Canadian Agricultural Review Tribunal. I'm absolutely astounded this happened as it did. But I'm thanking God that this did happen when it did. Let's have a look at another of Chris's videos. He's been sending these to me for the last couple of days, and I have been remiss in not showing them to you because he does great work. He's only one there doing any videography right now. I can bet you anything Rebel News will be on the scene today, though, to talk to Katie and her mom about this, because this is huge news. Not just because it's about justice for one farm, but this could be potentially justice for dozens, hundreds of farms that have been assaulted, attacked, occupied, had their livestock so-called culled, massacred by the CFIA. Has this been their business practice? Oh, we'll send you an email. We won't even personally contact you. We'll send you an email, and that'll be enough. Well, the Canadian Agricultural Review Tribunal is saying, sorry, folks, that's not enough. You have been remiss. You have been negligent. You're guilty of not doing things properly, following the proper procedure. It's the government body. So maybe there's hope for this country yet. You know, I throw up my hands every week on this broadcast and I say, is there any hope for this country? I don't know. But I think this is a moment of optimism. Let's watch another of Chris's video.
Hey, Casey here. Universal Ostrich Farms in Edgewood, British Columbia. The weather's been a little bit above zero. It's warmed up a little bit the last while. I've been wanting to get out here and have a look, see if I can find some of the shell casings and determine what kind of rounds were used here. This mass slaughter. Right before I do that, I was just thinking of a couple of things here. The numbers have come out, or at least the preliminary numbers of what it costs to occupy and terrorize this farm, to leave this giant mess, to slaughter over 300 healthy ostriches. Numbers, initial numbers at least, I think those are probably low. $6.7 million. $6.7 million. I believe more than half of that was RCMP. I think we will find that the RCMP number will be much, much, much higher when all is said and done. Some of that stuff it says is still redacted due to ongoing something or other. So I think that number will rise. Also had me thinking, not too far away, at least country-wise, in Surrey, BC, they have a major problem with extortion. So bad that they've had to declare a state of emergency. Things are so bad, extortion is so bad in Surrey, they have to declare, or are trying to declare, a state of emergency. Guess how much the government is willing to spend on that? $4 million. $4 million. Then on top of that, we're seeing today the extreme corruption. The story breaking out of Toronto. Toronto police, 7 to 9 officers, 30 arrests, 7 to 9 police officers, I think, 1 retired police officer, all involved in basically organized crime, extortion, conspiracy to commit murder. Just for interest too, their budget just got bumped 98 million. I think it's up to 1.43 billion. The police budget in Toronto. We're spending all this money. I think we're spending it in a lot of the wrong places, and it seems like the police may be the criminals. And behind me here, I just heard the sound of a metal detector going off, so it sounds like I may be able to find a few rounds here. I'll have more thoughts on all of this coming and my findings. Casey from Edgewood, out.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Chris. That's great reporting, and wanted to highlight again. This is, we did this Substack just late last week. No idea this was coming, and 2026 is the year of accountability. Is that prophetic? Is that prescient or what? For Katie Pasidney, 2026 is the year of accountability for a rogue Liberal government and a lying CFIA. I think she got it right. Because this decision is absolutely monumental. And like I said, it's going to have consequences, not just for Universal Ostrich Farms, but for all of those farms who have had to put up with this. These invasions, these home invasions by the CFIA, these occupations, and the slaughter of their livestock and the endangering their livelihood. I don't know how many farms have been knocked for a loop, but it's certainly been dozens. And they're going after not just exotic birds like ostriches. There is no reason for this. Of course, millions of chickens have been slaughtered, cows, pigs. And this is not just about this unnecessary carnage. It's about this attack on agriculture and the farmers who have to put up with this. And to see a government body lining up on the side of right, on the side of justice, it amazes me. Katie put this out on Friday, and she was just getting an inkling at this time that there was good news coming.
And a safer Canada for the future of our children and our grandchildren, a nutritional food supply, the lineage and the generational farmers that are the backbone to our country, preserving our Charter of Rights, our freedoms, our property rights, and that these laws cannot be abused. And we are going to continue to fight, and we haven't stopped. So God bless, and it's Miracle Friday. Guess what? Tomorrow's Miracle Saturday. So get ready for it. I'm ready.
So clearly, I think she knew it was coming. And I was made aware of it around the same time, early Saturday morning. I knew this was coming, and I thought this was incredible. But here's Katie's announcement on her Facebook page yesterday afternoon. About the same time they put out the news release announcing this. And this is huge. Very, very huge.
Hi, everyone. This is Katie with Universal Ostrich. Fact 2. Now, the tribunal is based off the February 6th to February 26th delivery of quarantine documents. Tribunal finding number 2, CFIA failed to prove urgency or emergency by bypassing the law. The tribunal acknowledged disease is serious, but seriousness alone doesn't erase the law. And that is an extremely important fact of this tribunal. Inspectors were on our property multiple times to assess. They had opportunity to assess. There was no emergency justifying shortcuts. This is supposed to protect Canadians from the abuse of emergency authority. So this is another fact of the tribunal in which we have been given, based off the February 6th and February 26th hand delivering documents, that they failed to provide proper service doing so. It's Miracle Sunday. Hi everyone, this is Katie with Universal Ostrich.
To both Katie and Mr. Ritz, has the CFIA's occupation in stamping out policy, which of course is Heath MacDonald's policy at Canadian farms, and most specifically, and of course this is exactly the question we asked just about a week ago, less than a week ago, we asked this question: was this a violation of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms? And I'm not going to read that into this announcement, but certainly I think any lawyer could extrapolate from there. And this is clearly what has been going on. Katie's farm, Universal Ostrich Farm. Do you believe this is a violation of the Canadian Charter of Rights? We'll start with Katie if we can.
Absolutely. We just look at the Emergencies Act and how they were found to abuse the Charter of Rights there. Everybody, the one that really stood out to me, and I made a note of it, was every individual is equal before and under the law. I have it sitting with me all the time now. And we have the equal right to protection and equal benefit of the law without discrimination. And, we saw a gross amount of abuse of power and the misuse of enforcement with our RCMP, and really opened up a lot of people's eyes. So, we felt it in many ways, but our Charter of Rights was absolutely violated at our farm.
What say ye to that, Jerry?
Well, I don't think anybody in their right mind can justify the way that whole project was handled.
No.
Heath MacDonald is the signatory for the funding that would have been required for CFIA to dip their toe in the water that deep. He would have had to taken it to cabinet to get authorization to do that, if that's the way their protocol still works. This is way beyond any A-based funding. This is over and above that. And I know the number 6.7 million was kicked around. I would hazard a guess it's closer to 10 million. They're not going to release it all. But at the end of the day, that's $10 million, as Katie outlined, that could have been spent on a whole lot of other positive things to build something out of this, rather than just search and destroy as they did. And that's up to Mr. MacDonald to answer for. And I don't think there's any way that you can. If we had a functioning media in this country any longer, he would be under the spotlight and his feet over the coals day in and day out until there were some questions answered. We're not seeing that anymore. These guys get to skate and do these types of things with impunity because they're not held to account. And even in Parliament, they bring them before committee, and the Liberal NDP coalition shut down the committee, don't allow this, don't allow that. So we do not have a functioning democracy at this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this outcome, what happened on our farm does not and will not erase accountability. As I said in the last time we all spoke, but 2026 is going to be the year of accountability. I think it's desperately needed that we become transparent and trustworthy, and that we really repair that eroded trust between Canadians and agencies in our government. So hopefully there is going to be a new framework, which I do know that there is, some new framework that poses great potential for healing that eroded trust, putting more strength in the system and coming up with a better outbreak response, and repairing. There's a lot of repairing to do, a lot.
A lot of repairing to do. And maybe that healing process can start right now. A lot of you have been following the story now for over a year. I got into the story exactly a year next month when I started reporting on this, because I thought there's something about this story that is larger, that is bigger than just one farm, one family, one issue. This is about agriculture in Canada in general. And of course, I consulted my old friend, former Agriculture and Agri-Food Minister Jerry Ritz, who concurred that this was a huge issue. And it was not just about one farm or one family, it was about all farms in Canada and the potential for Ag Canada to override basic essential rights in this country. And I think that's what Jerry was saying from the beginning. And when he was on this show last week, he talked about the same thing. So we will be talking to Katie later today. It's very early and she was up all night. So we'll be talking to her later about this. But I wanted to make sure we got the news out to you as soon as possible, because this obviously could go even farther for Katie and Karen. This could be of immense importance to them. But that's going to be up to their legal team to decide. But right now, they don't have to pay a $10,000 fine. And the CFIA, I think, is shaking in their boots today. They have not issued any response to this. I looked. They were, I think, taken completely by accident over this, because it was a weekend decision, late Friday night. Government bureaucracies don't tend to look too closely at the news Friday afternoon. If there's an unpleasant bit of news they want to put out, they'll put it out Friday afternoon. But they don't tend to look at other people's announcements. And this announcement did not get posted publicly until late last night. So nobody was aware of this except the farm and this tribunal. So it's going to be, I think, a huge surprise for this Canadian Food Inspection Agency Monday morning, right now, when they wake up to find out they've been caught. This was not done properly. And I think it's going to be tremendous embarrassment. So we'll be back again with more about this story and the latest. We'll keep you informed. Thanks for watching today. We really, really appreciate it. And we had a few technical problems, but we'll get those ironed out for the next segment. But the most important thing is we get the news to you and you're aware of it. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for sharing this station with your friends and family. Thank you for hitting that like button, because I tell you, we are fighting back in a way I've never had to before, because I'm going to keep this station on the air. I'm going to keep fighting for freedom. I'm going to keep fighting for justice and truth. And I am damn determined to resist this Carney government in any way possible as it encroaches upon our individual freedom. And it will continue to do that, mark my words. I'll be back again tomorrow. Same time, same place. 10 a.m. This has been David Crayden, broadcasting live from our nation's capital in Ottawa. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.